Hey, what's up you guys? It's Brian, and today we're going to talk about the rudest bands that I've ever interviewed. So I go on YouNow every single day. This is my YouNow, by the way, if you guys ever go on there. But one of the questions that I get asked all the time is, what is the rudest band you've ever interviewed, as well as the nicest? But today I thought I would answer that question. What is the rudest band you've ever interviewed? So here we go. Here are the rudest bands I've ever interviewed. So I want to start off by saying that most of the bands I interviewed were really nice. In fact, probably 95 or 96% of them were very nice to me, and I always appreciated that. But there were a few over the years that were a bit rude. And one of those bands was Avenged Sevenfold. So I'm going to start off by saying that Avenged Sevenfold is one of my favorite bands. I respect them a lot. And I don't blame them for being rude to me, because when I interviewed them, I was kind of an idiot. I was 18 years old at the time, and I didn't really know what I was doing. It was like my third interview ever. And you guys have to remember, Avenged Sevenfold is a huge band. They do tons of press, and I think they were about to hit the stage. It was like 30 minutes before the show, and they didn't really want to be there, let's put it that way. The interview got started, it was very awkward, and about 5 minutes into the interview, one of the band members actually just walked off. Like, he just left without saying goodbye, without saying where he was going. He literally just walked off the interview. I'll actually show you guys that clip right now. Check it out.
What's the meaning of your music and all that stuff?
Each song means something different, and we have no really huge meaning or self-defining sort of thing. We're just kind of living our life and doing that kind of thing.
I think we just lost one of our interviews.
Yeah, there it goes.
So yeah, Zachy Vengeance, that's who that was. He just walked off. Clearly he had better things to do. And then the member that stayed, Sinister Gates, he just grew more and more annoyed during the interview. Like, as the interview went on, his answers just got more one-worded, and you could just tell he did not want to be there. Like, he wanted to do anything else but sit there and finish that interview. And the funny part for me is I think I was like oblivious to it, because I had never done interviews before and I was still kind of a kid. So I just was like happy-go-lucky, like asking all these dumb questions, and I could not pick up on the fact that this guy had no desire to keep this interview going. And I think I dragged it out for like 15 or 20 minutes with this guy. I'm actually going to show you guys a couple of the really funny questions that I asked him and how genuinely annoyed he got throughout the video. Check it out.
You've been doing this for a while. Does any part of it ever get old? Going on tour, seeing your album, you know, in stores, hearing yourself on the radio. Does it ever get old?
Nope.
So, what do you love about touring?
Press.
Press. You like people like me? I'm the reason you go on tour.
You're the reason I'm here, baby.
Overall, that was a very bad interview. One of the band members walked off, the other member clearly did not want to be there, and I definitely would say that they were rude to me. But again, I don't blame them. I wasn't prepared, I didn't do my research, and I wasn't a very good interviewer at the time. And you know, when you're a band like Avenged Sevenfold and you're as big as you are, if someone's going to do an interview with you, they should do their research. And that's something that interview taught me. And if you guys want to see that interview, by the way, and watch the awkwardness, because it was really awkward, I'll put a card on the video so you guys can check it out. Okay, so the second band that was rude to me, and I'm sure you guys have heard this story, is Never Shout Never. And I want to start off by saying that we're actually cool now. I'm not starting any drama with Never Shout Never. In fact, he's actually a really nice guy, and I don't have any beef with him, but the story of how we got to where we are today is actually pretty interesting. So, way back when I started interviewing, one of the very first bands I interviewed was Never Shout Never, and it was one of the coolest interviews I ever did, the first one.
Yeah, this is the move. You do the Cosby too. BryanStars, Never Shout Never. Yeah.
He just practiced his arm.
Love his fucking hat. This is awesome.
Yeah. BryanStars. Fuck it, I'm going out the window. Fuck y'all.
So a couple years later, the New York Times was doing a story on my channel. They were doing a story on a bunch of YouTubers, and they were going to do a story on me as well. So I decided to go and interview Never Shout Never a second time and bring the New York Times with me. So I drove 8 hours to Never Shout Never's hometown to do an interview with him. And everything seemed fine, everyone was being nice, everything was going great. And then the interview started and everything just went to hell. Like, he started making fun of me, he called me a joke, he, attacked my questions, he attacked me as a person.
And if you want to be a part of that real shit, you can, or you can you know, keep being a joke, you know, it's up to you.
Fast forward a couple of years later, and me and Never Shout Never were both on Warped Tour. And Kevin Lyman, the founder of Warped Tour, being the dad figure that he is, literally brought me and Chris into a room and was like, hey, you guys need to put whatever bullshit you guys have against each other behind you and be friends again. So yeah, we actually did an interview, a third interview on camera, and we apologized to each other. And you know, he apologized to me for what he did during the interview. I apologized to him for whatever he was mad about, because there were some different things he was mad at me for, and we made up. Yeah, honestly, we talked about it a little bit before this video, and we squashed all the beef. The coolest part about this story is that two people who had such a negative experience with each other in the past actually became friends again. Because on Warped Tour, out of all the bands that were on Warped Tour in 2015, me and Chris actually hung out almost every day. Like at barbecues, we would hang out. He came up and crashed my Think TEI class. He would just randomly come up and say hi and talk to me almost every single day. I would do the same thing to him. You know, he's in a lot of the vlogs that you see on Warped Tour. He would just hang around. He actually became a friend of mine on the tour again. And I can honestly say that out of all the bands on that tour, like I said, he was one of the only people I talked to almost every single day. Alright guys, so the third band that was rude to me on camera, and this is the last one I'm going to talk about in this video, but this band was not nice at all. They were honestly just rude people, and that was 3 Inches of Blood. So they were a metal band, I think from Canada, and they were on tour with a bunch of other metal bands. And look, I've been around a lot of metal bands. They're intimidating. Sometimes they're a little bit scary. But I've never had an issue with metal bands. I've interviewed Slipknot. I've interviewed Disturbed. I've interviewed 3 Days Grace. I've interviewed Cannibal Corpse. Like, metal bands are scary sometimes, but when you meet them, they're actually usually pretty nice people. These guys were not. They were jerks. They were rude. They were arrogant. And I'll give you some examples. So anytime I would ask a question, they would literally give me a one-word answer, or they would tell me, I don't want to answer that, next question. I could just be like, who's like the craziest member in the band? I don't know. Okay. What's your favorite song on the album? We don't have a favorite. Okay. So tell me about how you guys formed. Well, you can look it up. We don't have to answer that. That was like, no matter what I asked, could not get an answer. And then by the end of it, they just were like, all right, we're done. Bye. Look, and I would have actually posted the interview, but it was just such a bad video that I literally just deleted it after it was done. I was like, I'm not even gonna post this. Yeah, they were honestly the most uncooperative, unhelpful, rude band I've ever interviewed, and it was like, I didn't even deserve to breathe the same air as them, is how it felt. And out of all the bands I've interviewed, whenever people ask me, who's the rudest band you ever interviewed, they are always the first one that comes to mind. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I fully support Avenged Sevenfold. I blame myself on that one. I was not prepared for the interview that I did with them. Never Shout Never, like I said, me and him are cool now, and I wish him the best moving forward. I think he's extremely talented, and I love Chris. He's a good guy. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. And if you want to see the interviews that I mentioned in this video, I will put cards on it. The one with Avenged Sevenfold especially is pretty fucking funny, actually. Looking back on it now. So definitely check that out. And I think that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe. And if you want to see more story time videos like this, let me know in the comments below. Alright, I love you guys. I will see you soon. Bye!
I love you, you trust me, it's everything.